But first, our top story tonight. After concerns of how Sean Grayson was hired by Sangamon County, given his past history, Fox Illinois dug into what measures the state of Illinois has to track the conduct of police officers. Fox Illinois' Carson Gordy joins us in studio after learning the latest. Carson?
A database targeted to track police officers who have a history of misconduct, and law enforcement agencies are required to review it during the hiring process.
The hiring agency can look at the data that's available and take that into account.
Law enforcement agencies are required to report officers who willfully violate a policy that triggered a suspension, a resignation, or a formal investigation. The system had over 300 officer complaints filed by law enforcement agencies in 2023. There's more than 30,000 police officers in the state of Illinois.
It's hard to evaluate. It seems like it's low.
The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Safety Board said that former Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson was not in the database prior to the fatal shooting of Sonya Massey, meaning that his previous internal investigations conducted by Logan County Sheriff's Office were not documented.
Well, I'll definitely be terminated because a buck just smacked the side of my driver's side door.
7 months on. How are you still employed by us?
I don't know.
Sean, do you understand what I am saying?
Yes, I do, sir.
Patrick Kreese is the vice president of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, Region 2. He says the database may not catch everything.
That's been a good improvement for the mandatory of sharing information when someone is under serious or investigation for serious misconduct. It's not really intended to capture every mistake a police officer makes. But
he says that law enforcement agencies doing their own background checks is vital.
The onus is really on the hiring agency to ask the questions. It is not good enough to simply check the professional database and say, if there's nothing there, I'm going to hire this person.
I've reached out to multiple lawmakers for comment to ask whether they believe the database covers enough ground, but I was not able to be connected. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thank you, Carson. We will continue to provide more updates as we receive more information. And the Democratic Party of Sangamon County has now joined in the calls for Sheriff Jack Campbell's resignation. They said in a statement, reading in part, quote, "Only with entirely new leadership can the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department begin the essential work of restoring the public's trust and serving all members of our community," end quote. Thank you, Darren. Fatal phone call. Concerns continue over how Sean Grayson was hired by Sangamon County. The former deputy is now facing charges following the shooting death of Sonya Massey. The shooting happened last month when Sonya called 911 about a prowler outside of her home. During the exchange, Sonya Massey was shot and killed by Grayson. Reports say there are multiple concerns over Grayson's work history with previous departments. And Fox Illinois is digging into what measure the state has to track the conduct of police officers. We found there is a database targeted to track officers who have a history of misconduct, and law enforcement agencies are required to review it during the hiring process. The system has 300 officer complaints filed by law enforcement agencies in 2023. There are more than 30,000 police officers in Illinois.
It's hard to evaluate. It seems like it's low.
However, the vice president of the Illinois Police Chief Association says the database may not catch everything.
That's been a good improvement for the mandatory of sharing information when someone is under serious or investigation for serious misconduct.
Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Safety Board said former Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson was not in the database prior to the fatal shooting of Sonya Massey, meaning his previous internal investigations of misconduct at Logan County Sheriff's Office were not documented. And former Deputy Sean Grayson is being held in custody on multiple charges in connection to Sonya Massey's death. His charges include 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. He has pleaded not guilty on all charges. And Governor J.B. Pritzker continuing to weigh in on Sean Grayson and his employment history. Here's what he had to say today during the opening of the state fair.
It's hard to tell exactly what could be done, especially when there isn't transparency in the sheriff's department about how this person was hired after the sheriff's deputy resigned over and over again.
Governor Pritzker has recently called for Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell to resign. And the Sangamon County Democratic Party is now joining the calls for Campbell's resignation. They said in a statement, in part, quote, Jack Campbell's resignation would not only be a band-aid on the deep cut the Sheriff's Department has inflicted upon our community, only with entirely new leadership can the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department begin the essential work of restoring the public's trust and serving all members of our community, end quote. And Fox Illinois has been covering this story since the shots fired call on July 6th at Sonya Massey's home. You can stay up to date on our coverage by heading over to our website, foxillinois.com.
We do want to start with breaking news. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell is retiring. He announced his intention to step away this afternoon. His decision comes just a month after one of his deputies shot and killed Sonya Massey. In a statement, he said, the one person truly responsible for this act is in jail, and I believe justice will be served through the legal process. Despite these efforts, some in the community want me to pay the price for that person's actions, even threatening that I pay the price with my life, my family's lives, or the lives of my deputies. We will only persevere together as a community if we turn down the temperature and resolve to do better, end quote. Campbell's last day in office is August 31st. This is more fallout from the July 6th when now former deputy Sean Grayson shot Sonya Massey inside her home. The mother of two called 911 about a prowler. Two deputies with the Sangamon County's Sheriff's Office responded to the call. Grayson is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Now, he is currently in the Menard County Jail, and today he's asking the judge once again to let him out. Sangamon County Judge Ryan Cadigan denied him pretrial release last month, but today his new attorneys tried again. Fox Illinois' Carson Gordy was in the courtroom. Carson?
Sean Grayson's request to be released from police custody was once again denied by Sangamon County Judge Ryan Cadigan. Grayson appeared via Zoom while one of his lawyers argued in person. Mark Wyckoff argued that Grayson should be released because he didn't commit violent acts as a private citizen and that electric monitoring, house arrest, and keeping it gun-free could mitigate Grayson's risk to the public. Sangamon County prosecutors and the judge disagreed. The judge ruled that Grayson's behavior on July 6 was outside of societal norms, such as not rendering aid and being quick to shoot Massey, and no measure could mitigate his threat to the public. After Grayson was denied pretrial release, you could hear some members in the audience applaud the decision. Grayson will remain in Menard County custody, and Judge Cadigan says Grayson can appeal this decision to a higher court and try to be released from jail. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thanks, Carson, for that update. Grayson is next scheduled in court August 26th for an arraignment hearing. Well, the Springfield community is holding a peace march and vigil to honor Sonya Massey. It's happening tonight at 7. It'll start on North Grand Avenue. You can find more information on our website, foxillinois.com, and we'll have coverage of that peace walk tonight at 9. Thanks for being here, family, friends, and supporters marching in Springfield for justice for Sonya Massey. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Dawn Sterling. Eliza Petrie is live at the Illinois State Fair and will join us a little bit later in this newscast. But a Sangamon County deputy facing murder charges after he shot the mother of two in the face. And tonight, prosecutors took to the streets of Springfield begging to, quote, say her name. Fox Illinois' Carson Gordy was at that peace march and joins us in the studio.
The people I spoke to want change and accountability to the entire law enforcement system. The event was organized by Indicate Minds, and the walk was over 30 minutes, with people chanting Sonya Massey's name and saying this is what democracy and community looks like. One person I spoke to thinks marches and awareness have brought some change within the community. Tyra Standage is the organizer of the event, and she was proud of the turnout.
I think it turned out good, and it's important to still apply pressure for full justice. We received great news with the retirement of Jack Campbell as well as Sean Grayson's pretrial release being denied again. So today was more of a celebratory march.
Standage says that while Sheriff Jack Campbell is retiring as the Sangamon County Sheriff after this month, reforms to policing will still need to be made. She hopes that the Sangamon County Board meeting this Tuesday will generate good discussion about reforms to law enforcement. And she added that after tonight's event, she still thinks there will be more peace walks in the future. I'm Carson Gordy, back to you.
Thank you, Carson. The county board will be held, the county board meeting will be held at the BOS Center in downtown Springfield as officials are expecting increased attendance now. Well, Sangamon County Sheriff, as you heard, Jack Campbell announced his retirement. He announced his intention to step away this afternoon. His decision comes just a month after Massey's death. In a statement, he said, as elected leaders, we must always put the overall good of the community above ourselves, and I will not risk the community that I swore to protect. While it's painful to say goodbye, I do so knowing I have fulfilled my duties and served to the best of my ability. Campbell's last day in office is August 31st. The county board will select someone to temporarily be sheriff. Ben Crump, the attorney representing the Massey family, reacting tonight in a statement. Sonya Massey's family is willing to work with the outgoing sheriff for the remainder of his tenure to help heal the community and achieve full justice for Sonya. The Massey family also hopes to work with Sangamon County's next sheriff to examine how this tragedy happened and to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again. Sean Grayson is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He is currently in the Menard County Jail, where he will stay for at least a little while longer. Sangamon County judge again denied him pretrial release. His attorneys argued he should be put on house arrest and given electronic monitoring. The judge disagreed. Grayson can appeal this decision. His next court date is August 26th. We're getting a first look at the night Sean Grayson was booked into the Menard County Jail. This is video from inside the jail. A minute into the video, you see Grayson walk into the door on the left, his hands cuffed in the front. There's no audio from this angle, but you see him walk in and sit down right there. Less than a minute after sitting down, a deputy takes off his cuffs. This angle has audio. You can see Grayson still sitting on the bench. There's about 5 law enforcement officers in the room with him, including Menard County Sheriff Mark Aller. At one point, they asked Grayson about his charges.
They're saying my charges are first-degree murder, aggravated with a weapon, and official misconduct.
That's based off the grand jury.
Yeah. That's what the state's attorney agreed, or that's what the state's attorney made the charges. So they said this is for my own safety to put me in custody. So.
The 30-year-old was put in a holding cell while deputies booked him into the jail.
Don't miss a video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today for more Central Illinois news.